Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to our little submersible vulture. In today's episode, we are going to be working on quite a few things. The main thing, however, will be the addition of a new torpedo system, an actual weaponized torpedo system, rather than the little sonars we have at the back. The reason being quite simple. A torpedo system will work both in the air and underwater, and it can be very easily set up to have very slight differences depending on our altitude, so I think that would be the best option for our secondary weapon system. And because ammunition is short, I think we should really go with quite a slow firing system which packs a bit of a punch. So a semi-fast torpedo over a very long range with a massive payload of probably 4 explosive, 1 frag, or something like that. We'll see the specifics as we go. The big problem at the moment is we are rocking like an absolute silly thing. On the upside, we're no longer rocking horizontally, we're only rocking vertically for the most part, but it's still very disconcerting. It's very stable, and one of the reasons why it's rocking is because it's overcompensating for our natural weight distribution, which makes it so that if we take a lot of damage, it should still be very stable, but even so, it's not nice to look at. I don't like it, I want to fix it. And with that, let's carry on. What we're going to be doing is heading west a little bit further than we are currently, so that we go to a higher difficulty area, which is still very nice weather. At the moment, sadly, we are still counted as being quite easterly, so this warp plane was just good luck that, well, there's no bad weather, which is much, much nicer to look at. So let's start heading west as I think about where we're going to add the torpedo system and how we're going to set everything up. So, internal heliblades on, and then our regular thrusters on, and we are going at a whopping 60 meters per second, which is pretty quick considering our engine power and our weight. This is why we are going to a harder area very soon. This is currently 7,000 meters away. I decided to have a quick look-see to see what was heading our way, and if I should go through the portal or not. And well, it's this. Not the most fearsome of opponents, is it? Well, I think that was a fairly close battle. I'm very glad we managed to survive that. I think I'm getting famous now for being the person who will always change their mind before doing anything. So, I've changed my mind about where the torpedoes will go, and I think I'm going to have them be manually fired, as a weapon of mass destruction that does a lot of damage before a fight starts over a very long range, but is too specific to really have any AI input. If I have it so it fires under certain circumstances, I'm always going to end up firing this very heavy ammunition cost weapon when I don't want to fire it. So at the moment, it's going to be this big. They are going to be very, very large torpedoes, which are going to be somewhat fast and are going to have a massive payload. But, like I say, they are going to have to be manually fired. They are not going to fire by themselves under any circumstance. I may have some smaller torpedoes in the back, which then only fire underwater, with these ones being more flexible, at least in that sense. Maybe. Test firing in 3, 2, 1. Gotta be honest, that looks really cool. So their whole purpose is that they have a lot in the way of speed and fuel, and a lot in the way of explosives. The only thing they're lacking is turning capabilities, so very fast targets are almost definitely going to get away from these torpedoes. But if they do hit a larger target, they should do a lot of damage, with 5 explosive warheads each. I am tempted to make the 5th into a fragment, but for now that's how we'll keep it. And with that, I think it's time we go to a new zone. Can we make it into this portal first attempt? I've just lowered ourselves down. I'm now trying desperately to control our height. Can we go through this without having to turn for once, please? Yes, and... yes, just about! Wow, I honestly thought I'd missed it then. There we are, into a new warp plane. Hopefully this one will be more difficult. So I'm going to go out and try to get a bit more resource. Although we do have a fair bit of resource at the moment, I want about 100,000 minimum before we have our next massive retrofit. So let's focus on going west. Hopefully we'll find a target for our torpedoes very soon. Shields on. There they are. Just about able to see them. Perhaps I should have made at least one opaque for this, but the shields are on. Shields are off. Shields are on. Shields are off. I should have done this so long ago. Why did I not think about doing this? This means when we're moving, all of our engine power can go to movement, and when we need protection, we can turn the shields on. This also means that potentially we could have more shields than we're currently using, which is certainly a good idea. Having the shields on a control block is one thing, but what about if we had additional shields on a separate control, having it as a sort of emergency system if we are under attack by cram cannons which are very slow, which we're not going to be able to dodge, or just a lot of very fast advanced cannon shots. I think it would be a good idea to have these completely separate as a last-ditch effort, something which would look a little bit insane, something similar to this. Now these are shields on spin blocks. Obviously, this is not set up correctly, they're not even at right angle, and they are currently turning off every now and again because they are simply too powerful for our current engine power. But something like this could very easily be set up as a last-minute effort. If we're under such heavy attack, we can't get away and we'll probably die. This may be a good option. If very silly looking, of course we would try to make it invisible, or maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we'd make it as opaque as possible so it would at least be interesting and very visually obvious when it's active. First resource zone of the new world, and of course we are instantly surrounded by fog. It seems like going west didn't help as much as I first thought it would. I've done the silly thing. So right now, I can actually maintain height and these ludicrously powerful shields at full capacity at the same time, because I've used the back of the wing space now for engine power, also of course for more RTGs to power said engines. So right now, it will be very difficult to kill us with shells, although I really should reverse these shields, because I'm more likely to be attacked from underneath me than above me, and right now they are providing much better protection from the top than the bottom. It seems like once you add a certain amount of spin blocks, some of them become silent. That is really weird. I can no longer hear my main rotor blades because we now have even more shields. I couldn't help it. As long as the enemies in front of us or the side of us, we are so well protected. Nothing for around about 40 minutes, and then suddenly we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate enemies. This is going to be fun, so let's turn on our main weapons. And I'll get a little bit closer, then I'll also fire the torpedoes. What is the... Well, first enemy was so small it just died. I'm okay with that. It seems like more difficulty just means more targets, question mark. Of course, I could be smart and use my detection system to simply tell me the name of the enemy, but where's the fun in that? Second enemy, this time I'm doing a little bit of scouting. That looks like an Onyx Watch ship. Well, at least this time round, it's not one of the Deepwater Guard. I'm going to get a little bit closer, and I'm going to fire my torpedoes. Let's see how they do. Here we go then. Okay, we are close enough that it's time to turn on everything. Well, here we go. I've just turned on my emergency shields just in case, and our torpedoes should be hitting very, very soon. Although our advanced cannons are ripping it apart as well. Let's see how the torpedoes do. Incoming first hit. Massive amount of damage there to the side, and here come the rest. Can we get a few more explosions? Yes, we can, ripping it apart completely. Our advanced cannons happily taking out the top turret whilst that was happening. We have been hit once. We lost 1% health, not exactly too much there. Let's see if we can deflect a shot. Come on, hit me with at least one hit. Let's see if our big shields can take out one of their slow-moving shells. Please remember that slow-moving shells are actually more effective versus shields. Nope, it seems like the advanced cannons were all that were needed. AI is already dead, and that is exactly what the advanced cannons do best. They're not particularly good at doing overall damage, but against things like AI, they are fantastic. Also showing a weakness of our torpedoes there, shooting over the target. That's going to happen a lot, I'm afraid. Closing in on another enemy, and I've purposefully turned off my cannons just for a second. It seems like it may be a bundle of balloons, so I can only assume it's a flyer of some kind that's already stuck in the water. Okay, I don't know what that is, to be perfectly honest, but it doesn't seem to be particularly powerful. Okay, cannons on, let's see how they do against this target. Balloons gone. A lot of health gone there, blocks being destroyed fairly rapidly. Oh, that's not a Nessie, is it? That's not the is that the Nessie? Okay, I can't remember for the life of me the Deepwater Guard names. Well, there goes another target. I'm a little bit disappointed so far, to be perfectly honest, about what type of enemies are currently attacking us. Look, I even have massive shields and everything. You didn't even get to fire at me. Okay, apparently we've picked up a straggler whilst we were killing that enemy. Does this mean there's a drone ship nearby, or did you spawn all by yourself, oh tiny little flyer? I believe you're from the Twin Guard? Oh no, please don't say it's as fast as me. I can't fire directly down my turrets. There we go, we're now firing against it. When did you sneak up on me? Well, there's half of your wing segment. Let's just get another hit like that and we're pretty much done. Completely silent for some reason, and boom. I'm a little bit concerned at this stage. Why are the enemies still so weak at the moment? We are on... Actually, it's still classed as only type harder. Am I just getting really unlucky/lucky with the spawns? Because I just don't know what to do now. Because I don't really need to do anything else to my helicopter. I want to be challenged. Honestly, I wouldn't mind being killed in this game, but if I get killed, I simply start again, if the audience permits, and then I will build a whole different type of vehicle. If I get killed as a helicopter, I'll build a thruster craft or a ship. If that gets destroyed, perhaps I'll build a full-on submarine, but at the moment, there's nothing different about what's going on. A bit concerning for the series, honestly, but I am still having fun, just as a recording standpoint, it's very, very weird. Approaching our next enemy. This one was so far away. It's taken about 5-10 minutes just to get in this range. I have never had an enemy spawn so far away before. It must have been at least 20 to 30,000 meters. It can't fire at us just yet. It doesn't look particularly big, but saying that, it is extremely far away. Oh, it's firing at us. I don't know what they are. Are they missiles, or are they low-firing cram cannon shots? I think it's time we turn on our advanced cannon, and we go into this mode. There it is. What are you? You are utterly, irrelevantly small. And so it ends! Again! It's the end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. I am going to go through another red portal. And it's as simple as that. I am going to go through another red portal. I can't keep on doing this. It's slowly driving me insane. I want to be challenged, and right now, there's a lot of things I need to do to the helicopter to make it better, but there's no reason to do it. I'm not the type of person who doesn't like being challenged. It's just monotonous now. I mean, I've been on this plane for about an hour, and that is the best that they've come up with. I would give it more of a chance. Just cannot be bothered. Into the red portal. I think the worst thing is, the comment section of almost every video so far has spoke about how their first enemies were bulwarks and other such very powerful enemies, although it does turn out that the starter zone is bugged at the moment, so godly designs will spawn in the wrong place. But even ignoring that, there we are, even ignoring that, right now, I have just not seen anything I would class as difficult yet. The most difficult enemy I've seen is the Moray, I believe, and that isn't that hard to kill if you have the right type of weaponry, which I do. I want to see bulwarks, I want to be running away from them, I want to find targets which I can just about take on and kill for a load of resource. This isn't what I had in mind when I was playing this, and right now the warp plane type is harder. Maybe that's the only difficulty there is. I mean, after the initial starter zone, perhaps it's always just classed as harder, so there's harder, normal, and easier, and then that's that. I don't really know. It's been 15 minutes, and I'm going to try my best now to no longer rant, because I believe I've been ranting far too much this episode. And the first thing we've seen is an easier portal and a couple of resource zones, so at least we can get a bit of resource out of this. Still no enemies, however. It does give you a very large grace period once you enter a new zone. Of course, it does ramp up with how fast enemies spawn over time, but it doesn't ramp up in terms of difficulty. So it is definitely worth going through a few red gates if we are to find stronger enemies sooner. If only fishing was implemented in this game. Give me something to do while I'm gathering resource. We finally have enemies, so I haven't checked out what they are just yet, but by the looks of things, one is a flyer and one is some kind of ship. So, let's turn on our massive shields, now finally inverted, and see if our torpedoes can reach from here. In fact, I'm not even going to try, I'm going to get a bit closer, then I'm going to fire, and that is disappointing. Very much so. It's twin guard, definitely, but it is tiny and it's firing a single advanced cannon at us, which is just being deflected. See, 2 deflects. That one outright missed. That one got deflected. Well, fire the torpedoes. At least we can test out the torpedoes now, shall we? Those should lock on once they hit the water, because of course they are sonar powered, so in the air they shouldn't be able to lock on at all. They take so long to get into the water. I do feel like perhaps I should aim them just directly down, because that takes such a long time, it is such a waste. Oh, they're so close, they're going to detonate each other. Whoa, out of the water it goes! Massive amounts of damage taken. And then let's turn on our regular cannons, shall we? The shield is doing pretty well. I am tempted to have the... what's it called? There's a kind of EMP shell which can affect shields specifically, and I'm very tempted to add that to at least one of the turrets. Just to make sure that heavily shielded opponents can't outright counter those turrets. It's going for the AI, which is clearly the back. Yep, AI dead. There it goes. That's a railgun. Well, it's pretty cool, if nothing else. And there goes the smaller ship as well. I thought originally it was an aircraft, but apparently not. Oh, that is a problem. I really need to pay more attention. Was this attacking me the entire time? What a cool looking little plane. Oh, I'm ignoring salvage. That explains why I'm not shooting. Well, that's 3 opponents in this difficulty now taken out. Okay, yep, rotor blades are still up. Did I take any real damage? Nope, still on 100%. 3 targets have been downed. Do I really want to go through another portal which will reset how often enemies are attacking us? I feel like perhaps I should give it a chance, just to see if maybe they've made a change that difficulty does increase. Over time, I'm just going to wander around for a little bit longer and hopefully be attacked by some more enemies. On the upside, we have been here for 37 minutes right now. Yep, dyslexia just hit me like a truck. We have been here for 37 minutes, so hopefully they should be appearing rather frequently now. Maybe. This may look a little bit silly, but I was looking back at the footage from the previous clips, and some clips I'm probably not going to include in the video, and it turns out these lovely turrets were kind of clipping our shields. Because of these weird shields, the shots were getting stuck and simply falling to the floor, which was not particularly useful. So now we have extra long barrels so that they don't clip the shields. I mean, I could just change the shields, but at least now we're going to be incredibly accurate. And really spindly looking. At last, a new enemy, and by the looks of things, it's not absolutely tiny. Finally, something for me to do. So I have been looking online, and the amount of conflicting information is ridiculous. Some people say the difficulty ramps up the longer you're in one place, and other people say it stays the same, but then more enemies spawn. It's impossible to get a good bit of information at the moment, since this game mode is still in its infancy. A lot of changes are happening constantly, so info is constantly being outdated. Even looking at the official forums was pretty much pointless. A lot of info going around, and a lot of it simply being wrong. Okay, shields are on right now, going to avoid the enemy as much as possible until I'm in range for my torpedoes. There we go, firing them off. Sorry that you can't really see too much happening right now. Let's make sure the shields are online. They should be, and yes indeed they are. I would use my regular weapons, but the enemy does appear to be made out of wood yet again, so let's see if the torpedoes can take it out in one volley. I think I may need to make it so they fire a bit more separated. Even with the maximum currently from the regular staggered fire, they don't seem to be distant enough. First volley hitting, and massive amount of internal damage done. Fantastic. Ooh, that is flak, and that is completely ignoring my shields. Okay, for the sake of safety, let's turn on our regular weapons, shall we? Oh, incoming shot. Sorry for the terrible cameramanship. Thankfully, the shields were deflecting that shot. Aye, dead. There we go. Really bad cameramanship. In this mode, it's very difficult to actually control things, so what I should do is just go back to doing this. Goodbye. Yeah, definitely need to do this next time. It's just easier to aim the torpedoes in the other mode. Now, can I actually harvest that then? Let's find out. Oh, yes, we definitely can. We have 51,000 resource now. Well, that may have just been from the explosion from the torpedo, to be honest, but either way, that was pretty darn good. So, our shield's definitely worth it, deflecting a slow-moving cram shot. For those who don't know, the slower the shot, the more effective it is versus shields. It's a little bit weird, I know, but it does make some sense. But either way, that means cram shots very effective versus shield because they normally go through. However, when you have a load of spinning shields like this, it is a bit difficult to get through. So well done, Vulture, you're still doing pretty well. Although I now realise there's a good chance I was holding my weapon that entire time. Let's just ignore that, shall we? How long have we been here anyway in the zone? For about an hour. I mean, that wasn't the weakest of enemies, it definitely wasn't the strongest. It was using flak, which didn't do all that much. I think what I should do is stay in this zone for a bit longer and see if the difficulty ramps up. Like I say, I've been trying to look at forums, I just can't find a solid answer. A lot of the stuff is really outdated, and then new stuff is just people arguing about it, so I think for now, though, I am going to call the episode here. I'm going to pretty much AFK in one zone for a while for the next episode, so we can start off and straight away just be in combat. I really want an episode in which we get a lot of fighting done. I still want 100,000 resources before I do a massive retrofit, because I like to have a good amount of resource spare for repairs, because this is now getting to be quite an expensive vehicle. If we go into V here, we can see we have 185,000 resource as our general material cost, so I need a lot for basic repair work, just in case I get a load of ammunition exploded or something else. So, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, even if it has been a bit of a weird one, I do apologise for that. Then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.